you keep this for me?
Go ahead and fire away.
Patrick, you've played in so many big games already at a young age. Does everyone still feel? Does it still feel special? Do you still have that?
Oh, 100%. I think it feels more special the older you get because you have the failure. You have the failure of not getting to this game, and whenever you're not here and then you get to be back on this stage again, I think it gets more special because you never know how many more times you're going to get.
For all the success that you've had, the achievements and the numbers, Super Bowl passer rating numbers are low for you. Can that be a source of motivation?
I think you just take motivation from the loss that you had. I mean, I know what it feels like to win the Super Bowl now and to lose the Super Bowl, and winning it. Even though I didn't play my best game, I came through when it counted, and was able to win it. And then the loss, obviously, I left everything out there, but you lose, and that feeling you have in the locker room after it's a terrible feeling because you're so close to your ultimate prize. And so you take motivation from that and try to do whatever you can to make sure you have that winning feeling, because that's one that you can have forever as well. Yeah, no, it's special, and I think we talked about it the entire week, and it's something that it's been way long overdue. You've seen a lot of quarterbacks that haven't had this opportunity that we have had, and it took the quarterbacks before us to pave the way. And so, for us to be in this moment on this stage and be able to show where we've come as a league, this would be just the start of it, just the beginning of it, and we want to make sure that we set the stage for future generations to come. The best in the league. That's a hard one, but I think Bobby Witt Jr. is coming for that crown at some point.
Hey, Patrick, a couple quick questions for you. One about the ankle, of course. I know you're going to be fine. You're going to play, of course, but can you take us through what the rehab and recovery process will be this week?
Yeah, it's very similar. I mean, you're in the treatment room as much as possible. You have to make sure you get your rehab in. You have to make sure you get the mobility right, everything like that. Luckily, you had an extra week, so that helps out a ton. But you still just try to get whatever you can to be close as you can to 100% by game day.
And you've talked about that sort of fuel from the loss from 2 years ago. What about yourself have you learned? What have you changed in preparation over those 2 years to get to this point?
Yeah, I think the best thing I've learned as at the quarterback position is not trying to do too much. Just whenever stuff's not going your way, like the last game, the Bengals game, where I had that dumb fumble in the fourth quarter, just not letting those mistakes compound each other and just getting back to the game plan and whatever I can do to have a positive play and trusting in my teammates. That's something that I've learned over these last few years is you can't do it all by yourself. It takes your teammates and the team around you.
What do you think about your legacy? How do you compartmentalize not worrying about legacy and going out and winning this game?
I'm still so early in my career. I mean, I feel like all I focus on is winning the day. How can I get better today to prepare myself for the end of the week and this game that we're playing in? And I've always thought if you go out there and handle business the right way and do what you do and you win football games, that stuff handles itself. And so I never really think about my legacy after football. That'll be something that I think about after I'm done playing.
Patrick, valuable work you guys did off-season in Texas with you guys, Marquez, now especially now they've been through.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was valuable of those guys getting up to speed fast and them having the ability to step right in and have success. But I think more than that, it was about building those relationships. That when times got tough, you have this built relationship with these guys that you lean on. And so when everything's not perfect and everything's not going our way, we have a brotherhood and something that we can lean on to help us get through those times.
Speaking of brotherhood, Travis Kelce said that you guys were brothers last night. He and Jason. Are you close to Jason at all? Is there a relationship between you two guys?
Yeah, I've got to hang out with Jason multiple times now just because, like you said, me and Travis are like brothers, and I feel like his family is like one of my second families. And so I'm always, after every game, it's either he's at my house or I'm at his house, and we bring both friend groups together. And I remember my wedding and like the bachelor party and then my wedding day to see Travis like with my friends, you would have thought they grew up together. That's just, it goes both ways. I mean, like we've kind of joined each other's friend groups and kind of become brothers throughout our relationship on the football field. I mean, he's a special player, and obviously I think people always saw his running ability, but the way he's able to develop as a passer, he can execute and take advantage of whatever's on the football field. And whenever you work that hard and you leave everything on the field every single time, the guys follow you. And I think that's the most special thing that not everybody has, is the ability to have people that are older than you that have put in the work as well follow you on that football field to whatever means necessary. And so he has a special ability to have guys that will follow him, and that's why he's in the position that he's in today.
I just want to let you know that if you want a bodyguard or an offensive lineman, I'm here for you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're playing a great defensive line, so we might need you back there, man. What's up, Mexico?
Patrick, how does your family play a role on the field for you when you play?
Yeah, I mean, I've been lucky enough to have a great support system around me my entire life. And obviously my family is the biggest part of that, and the way they supported me and following my dreams, and not just being a baseball player, not just being a basketball player, but to follow your dreams, whatever that is. And so them telling me to be the best me that I can be no matter what it is, that's helped me be in the position I'm in today.
How does your faith play a role on the field for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that my faith plays a role because I have no added pressure of trying to win, and that's all that my life means. I know that I'm in this position for a bigger picture at the end of the day, and so obviously I want to win and I want to go out there and have success on the football field. But I know that I have something I can always lean on, and a reason that I'm standing on that football field.
Pat, you've been here 3 times in 6 years. When you see Tom Brady's going away after so many years at his age, do you see yourself playing at that age in these same stage, like 19 years or 18 years from now?
Yeah, I mean, it seems far away for sure, but you want to play as long as possible. What Tom has done, I don't know if that'll be matched the way that he's able to play at a 45. And I mean, he's retiring, but I mean, he still had a very high level season that he played. He's just choosing to retire, and so the way he's able to take care of his body and prepare himself is unmatched. And so I just try to learn from guys like that and prolong my career as long as possible. And God willing, I stay healthy and I'm able to play until I'm ready to retire. And I can say I retired and my body didn't quit on me.
Patrick, when speaking of Tom, he gave you some advice. Can you share what that advice was?
I'm not going to share exactly what the advice was, but I mean, he always gives me the best advice because he's been here, man. He's been in every situation that you could be in the NFL, and he's had obviously a lot of positives, but he's had to deal with some failures as well. And so to be able to learn from the greatest of all time at the quarterback position, I'm going to take that advice every single time.
Did you know that Peyton Manning offered Jalen Hurts some advice?
I didn't know that, man. I'm friends with Peyton as well, so I need to make sure that he gives me some advice as well. Yeah. I mean, obviously he's super talented and he's physically gifted. He's bigger than I think a lot of people understand, and how he's able to run routes with those physical routes in between. But I think what the biggest thing is the joy that he brings in the building every single day, and the work ethic. I mean, he is a guy that works his tail off when he's in the building, and he's kind of become one of those leaders in the receiving room. And it's cool to see because other than McCole, we had all brand new receivers in that receiving room, and those guys have grown together and built a brotherhood that now they don't care who gets the catches, and you see that on the football field every week. It's a different guy that seems like they have a big game.
Hey, Patrick, you've spoken obviously about standing on the shoulders of those who came before you as a black quarterback. When you were recruited coming out of high school, did you have any sense that you were being pigeonholed? I guess Texas recruited you as a defensive back. I don't know if it was for that reason, but did you have any sense of that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was necessarily pigeonholed because of the race, but I mean, I just definitely I didn't have the normal quarterback background, or I played a lot of different sports. I started quarterback at a late time in my career. And so they didn't know exactly who I was at the quarterback position yet. And so I don't know if it was the race. I'm sure that could have played a part in it a little bit. But at the same time, I think it was just me growing up so differently than other guys, especially in the Texas high school football kind of mold.
And you still think you could have been a DB if you had to?
I don't think I could have been a DB because I don't like tackling people. So I would have been great at reading the quarterback's eyes and knowing the concepts, but I do not like tackling people. And even when I played DB, I had like 5 or 6 interceptions, but I had like 30 tackles in like an 11-game season. So I wasn't really filling the run gaps and everything like that. Yeah, no, I mean, I was extremely excited because I had built such a great relationship with Nags that first year. And so obviously I was happy for him that he was able to go to Chicago and have some success and then have some failures, and he learned from those things. And so it's cool when you get a different mind that's been outside the organization for a little bit in the coaching staff because they have new ideas. And so we talk about stuff and we have different concepts that we'll work into our game plan because he's worked with them and had success with them, and then he's worked with some that haven't had success. So it's always great to get new coaches in the building, especially ones that you built relationships with. Yeah, my dad's. He means the world to me, man. I mean, he set an example for me of how you have to go through this business. I mean, he dealt with a lot of positives, and he was in the MLB at an early age, but he also battled in the minor leagues for a long time, and he just kept following his dream, and he was able to make it to a World Series, and he played for I think like 15 to 20 years of just baseball in general, and it showed me that no matter if you're not having success at that moment, if you continue to follow your dreams, you'll make it, and that's something that meant a lot to me growing up. Oh, it's one that I think everybody says, but he still says it to me this day, and he says players make plays. And that's all he ever says to me is at the end of the day, players make plays.
Patrick, Tony Dungy was the first African-American coach to coach in the Super Bowl. But I got a question for you. You and Dave Leonard are both African-American, both Christians. Tell me what that means.
Yeah, I think you see that we're very aware, and we have no added pressure because we know who we are and what we're playing for. And so it's obviously we want to win, we want to have success. But at the end of the day, we know why we're stepping on that field, and it's for a much, much bigger reason. No, I've been blessed, man, and I understand I'm blessed, and I understand the platform that I have. That's why I try to do whatever I can to be the best role model that I can be and do things the right way every time I'm on the field. Yeah, first off, he's a great person. I mean, the way our families were able to hang out. He would have us over for dinners and stuff like that. And we built a great relationship and friendship, really, even between coach and player. And so, obviously, he's a great person. But I think how detailed he is, he taught me a ton about me coming from the air raid to being an NFL quarterback. And even sometimes when I thought it was annoying, it's made me a better quarterback because he made sure I focused on the details every single day I stepped in the building. And I think that's why he would help Kyler even a ton too, because it would bring a different system to Kyler. I love Cliff too, so he brought a different system where he learned a different style of NFL offense from a different way. And so it's always great when you can get more and more coaches in the building that you can learn from that have learned from a lot of great coaches around them.
Mike just talked about those details that he hones in on and things that he shares over the years. Like the most ridiculous examples he was giving me of things that he tried to teach you to pay attention to, just so you can take in the entire environment. Is there one specific small detail that may seem dumb to us, but maybe important that you've been locking in on that's part of your prep here for this week?
Yeah, I think what Kafka used to make us do is we did these things called read sheets, and he'd make every quarterback in the room read over the progression of the play every single time, and it used to kill me when I got to year 3 or 4. I was like, man, I know these in my sleep, but he made me go through my progressions and read them, and like I was reading on the football field. And so when you get in those tough moments, you can lean back on that stuff. And so those read sheets, you asked Chad Henne about them, they used to kill me and him reading them. But I know when I'm in those crucial moments, I can just get through my progressions because I've had those relationships and with Kafka and the way he's able to really focus in on the details. Oh, we still do it. I've modified it a little bit now. I do it, but then I'll do it once, and then I'm like, all right, we can move on. I don't let every other me, Chad will read it, and then Shane maybe, and then after that we just keep moving on. Yeah, no, I think Coach Reed does a great job of it because if you look, I mean, if you try to keep adding to the game plan when you have a week like this, I think you lose some of the stuff. You lose some of those great plays because you have too much stuff in and there's so much stuff going on. So to get the game plan in a week early, then you travel, you have bus rides where you go to the practice facility where guys can study the game plan even more and more. And it's just like review now. It's not necessarily, hey, we're adding new stuff, like how do I correct this stuff on the fly? And so Coach Reed does a great job of it. I mean, obviously last week you want to have some extra off days and you get a couple early in the week, but at the same time, when you get here now, you can focus on the details and focus on what you need to do to succeed on the field. The pads, yeah, I mean that's Coach Reed, so you do it. But we weren't necessarily expecting the pads. He told us about last week, but we didn't do that the first year I was at the Super Bowl. But he has a reason for the madness, and we follow that lead because you know that he knows what he's doing, and that's why we're in this position today.
Hey Patrick, you've been asked, I know you've been peppered with a whole question about black quarterbacks. When do you think it becomes a non-issue? I mean, they used to say, blacks could play middle linebacker, now they're trying to So when did it become realities like next year we have two more, the year after that, two more? When do you think it becomes, we don't even talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think we still have time. We still have a long ways to go. I mean, you still see the stereotypes whenever guys come out to the draft and stuff like that. And so I think it just takes us to keep talking about it, honestly. I mean, us putting it on a platform like this and for guys like me and Jalen to be in this game and show that we can have consistent success every single year. And I said it yesterday. I mean, there were so many guys that came before me that are obviously known. You got Doug Williams and Warren Moon and all these quarterbacks that have had great careers. But you look at the guys that didn't make it and how they grinded through, and those guys are who set the platform for us to be in this spot. And so I'm just going to continue to try to evolve the game the best I can and show about my work ethic and how we play every single year in and year out, so that one day when hopefully I'm Doug Williams and I'm looking back on these guys, we're not even talking about this because we've evolved the game so much. I wouldn't say necessarily that was a sign. We thought we tried to think of something. We didn't want to go back to the Hawaiian shirts because that's already been done and anything like that. I was trying to get the guys to get the fake mustaches like Coach Reed drew on me on the plane, but I couldn't get enough guys to do it. So we just ended up rolling how we usually roll, and we're always having fun. I mean, it's always a business trip to us, and we understand what's at the top of mind, but we like to enjoy it while we're here. Oh no, Greg used to beat me in everything, dude. Like people don't understand how great of an athlete Greg was in high school, man. He played everything. I was up 21-0 in my junior year of high school, and he was a senior. And they came back and beat us. So they had some great players over there. They were our rival high school. We ended up beating them once they were gone, but all the great players were gone. So, but Greg used to beat me in everything. I'm just hoping I can get some payback this week. I would say it took me about to year 3 or 4 to start mastering the offense, and I could run the offense and make plays work. We had so many talented players around me, but to be able to understand the offense and know where to have those little free plays that I can get those easy yards, that took me a while, and I think it takes every quarterback a while. That's why it's sometimes hard to we quit on quarterback so early now, and I'm like it's hard to really learn where those little sneaky freebie plays are in the offense, and so that's why I'm glad that I had the time that I had. I got to sit behind a great quarterback in Alex Smith. I had a lot of great players around me, and then by the time that I needed to learn and master the offense, I was ready, and so that's why I'm glad that I'm in the place that I'm at.
Patrick, how would you describe the relationship among you, Andy, and Brett, and how significant do you think that is in what you guys are accomplishing?
Yeah, it's special, man. The whole organization. I mean, all the way up to Clark Hunt. Everybody's on the same page, and obviously we made some huge moves this offseason, but there was a plan. I think that was there's a plan from the owner all the way down to the equipment and to the training staff. We had a plan of how we were gonna execute and how we were gonna be back in this position, and that speaks to the organization. The relationship that we have is everybody's on the same page. We know what the goal is and how we're going to achieve it, and I think that speaks to Coach Reed, that speaks to Brett Veach, Clark Hunt, and all the players that we have in this building.
And are you apt to actually contact Brett and talk to him about things, or you'll respond to him when he asks you about ideas?
I've always said that, like, when I'm done playing, I might want to go to the GM role, so I'll ask him some stuff about, like, I've already hit some guys up and was like, how was the Senior Bowl, or how was the East West Shrine game? Just because I like that type of stuff. I like looking at guys and future guys, and not necessarily building our team or anything like that, but I like to see who the good players are and what they think about them. And so that's just stuff that I'm interested in, and we'll talk about everything. I mean, Brett will talk to me about Formula One, it seems like, every single week, man. He's like, and I understand it. I've watched some of the Drive to Survive stuff, but he acts like I'm like in the weeds and really understand it. And I'm like, man, I understand what you're saying a little bit. I know the main guys, but I can't be as detailed as you are.
While you're on that, do you think about future ownership ever as you've made these investments for other teams? I mean, I know it's a generation away, but I mean, is that in your mind?
I mean, obviously, I would love to. I mean, I've been able to, luckily enough, be in ownership of other sports, and I'm gonna try to keep climbing that ladder. But I'm gonna need a lot more money, so I'm gonna have to make sure that I find a way to get some more money off the field, more State Farm commercials.
Pat, I heard your dad last week say that at the draft, you guys swore the Bears were coming for you. Is that how that went down?
My dad took it a little far. So it wasn't that I thought the Bears were gonna draft me, but I was told that if they drafted a quarterback, that I would be the quarterback that they drafted. And that wasn't necessarily directly from their people, but that was told to my camp that I was told. So it did surprise me a little bit. But they told me they weren't drafting a quarterback, so that was the most surprising thing at all. So he acted like they were going to draft me for sure in that interview, and I was like, I don't know if it was that serious. But they did say if the quarterback was drafted, I would be the guy they drafted.
When they trade up and then they call a different guy's name, what's going to be?
It did catch me by surprise a little bit. I mean, I wasn't extremely worried about it. I mean, at the time when I came out of the draft, I was projected to be a second or third round pick. So I was just happy to get drafted into the first round. And I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to get drafted here at the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think it's well documented. So I was glad that I ended up getting drafted here.
Nagy gave you all those answers, right?
Nagy did give me the answers. He threw me a little sneak peek of what we were going to have the next day. But I still to this day think it was a test, because if he gave me the sneak peek and I didn't get the answers right, then they would have looked even worse. So he would have made sure that I was going to study, and I was up to like 3 or 4 in the morning making sure I was going to be great for Coach Reed.
You get to see the rookie DBs every week in practice. You guys have a multitude of them. What have you seen in their progression this year that's made them provided you to go out and have the success that they've had throughout the season?
Yeah, I think that they've done well of taking coaching. I mean, I think I saw in training camp, you can see how talented they were. I mean, obviously Trent. I mean, Trent was like a veteran from the day he stepped on the football field. So he was. I knew he was going to be a great player. But then you look at those guys like Joshua Williams and Jalen Watson and Cook, and they had the talent, and you could see the physical gifts. But you knew that it was going to take some refining. And I think that Coach Merritt did a great job of helping teach them. The other veteran guys in the building helped teach them, and they learned every single week, and they got better and better. So I mean, it was just a great job of them and their mentality and the coaching around them and the guys believing in them. And I mean, they stepped up huge for us, and now we need one more big game from them.
What was it like specifically watching them in the AFC Championship game? Jarius goes out first drive. You watch a lot of that game. There's 5 rookies on the defense and 1 for them in the secondary. How impressive was it for you watching those guys go out and shut down a very good Bengals?
No, I mean, it was extremely impressive. I mean, the receivers that the Bengals have, I mean, they have number 1 receivers, it seems like, at every position. So for them to step up against some of the best receivers in the league and make enough plays to help us win when we were struggling as the offense, I mean, it was special. And, I mean, it's going to be a lot. Hopefully in these next couple of years we have one of those lockdown secondaries, because we have all these young guys getting reps, making plays in big games. And so I'm happy for them, man. There are a lot of great kids, man. I'm saying kids like I'm like an old guy, but there are a lot of great kids, man, that have worked their tail off to be in this position. Yeah, you build relationships out there, man, and St. Joe's is an awesome place. That obviously I would want to be sleeping in my own bed. You don't like to be sleeping in the dorms or anything like that. But you build those great relationships with the guys, man. And I'm happy that Coach Reed takes us away at least for a couple of weeks, and especially when you get a new team and you're able to sit at the cafeteria, or you go riding in the same car from going to eat at Chick-fil-A or whatever that is. You build those relationships with those guys, and especially with a new team, it helps out when you're in those tough moments in the season. So I always love that Coach Reed does that. But at the same time, I'm like, man, let's go for 2 weeks. I don't know about the whole 3.5 weeks. That's a little too long for me not sleeping in my bed.
Patrick,